They were a civilization shaped by strict divine laws, gods who forbade violence, empires that had never spilled blood in centuries. Then humanity arrived. Not with divine judgment, not with prophecy, but with relentless compassion, courage, and the willingness to protect the weak. The moment they showed mercy, everything changed, because humans fight not just with weapons, but with hearts strong enough to rewrite the rules of gods. The city of Verth had never known bloodshed. For centuries, the Solari had lived under the guidance of their gods, ethereal beings whose commandments forbade violence. War was a concept relegated to ancient texts, dusty and unread, while the citizens built spires of crystal and bridges of light across floating islands suspended in the clouded atmosphere. Every movement, every decision, every law was guided by the doctrine of peace. When humans first arrived, they did so quietly, landing on the outer plateau of Verth, their ships humming low and steady, engines cutting through the mist like precise knives. The Solari watched from above, curious, cautious, but never fearful. Their gods had forbidden war. What could these soft-skinned bipedal creatures do? The human ambassador, Captain Marcus Rinn, stepped onto the crystalline surface of the city with calm authority. His armor was functional, not decorative, reflecting the soft light of Vertha's twin suns. Behind him, a small contingent of human officers followed, their faces a mixture of determination and respect. They carried no visible weapons, yet every Solari sensed an undercurrent of power, discipline, skill, and courage distilled into human form. "The humans come as observers," said one of the council elders, her voice melodic yet firm, carrying the weight of centuries. "Their presence is permitted. They may learn, but they may not interfere. Their laws are ours to guide." Marcus inclined his head. "We are here to understand, and if permitted, to offer assistance. But understand this, we do not wait for threats to strike. We act when lives are at risk." The council murmured. Such a concept was alien. Action before provocation? In Verth, mercy was passive and ideal. Days passed, humans walking among the Solari, observing their elegant society, their harmonious cities, and their gentle ways. And yet, in the shadows beyond the floating islands, darkness stirred, pirate fleets from a nearby system, rogue mercenaries accustomed to blood and chaos, had noticed the tranquility of Verth and saw it as a weakness. The first attack was subtle, a skirmish at the edge of the city where the Solari would never dare intervene. Drones appeared from the mist, energy weapons firing at a supply convoy. Solari citizens froze, unable to respond, for their laws forbade retaliation, their gods forbade harm. Marcus did not hesitate. "Form a perimeter," he commanded in his low, unwavering voice. His officers moved as one, human reflex and training allowing them to intercept with precision. Shields rose, directed energy pulses neutralized incoming fire, and drones were disabled without harming the environment or civilians. In minutes, the supply convoy was safe, and the pirates retreated into the swirling clouds. The Solari Council gathered, stunned. You acted without command, without permission," said the eldest, her glowing hands trembling. "Our laws, our gods." Marcus stepped forward. "Your gods forbade war, yes. But they did not forbid mercy. We did not seek to kill, we sought to protect. That is the difference." The Solari did not understand at first. Humans fought, yes, but only when necessary, only to safeguard the innocent. And in their efficiency, in their swift mercy, they revealed a truth the Solari had never grasped. Sometimes, inaction was a greater crime than combat. The next assault came 2 weeks later, more audacious. A fleet of heavily armed mercenary ships emerged from the upper atmosphere, targeting the central energy core that powered the city's floating islands. Panic rippled through the Solari. By law, they could not strike. Their citizens could not defend themselves. Marcus and his officers moved like shadows across the crystalline spires, coordinating defense and evacuation. Humans climbed, leaped, and anchored themselves to floating bridges, placing defensive turrets, neutralizing bombs, and guiding civilians to safety. Energy blasts cracked the air, shimmering against the blue sky, but the humans were calm, deliberate, precise. The alien attackers were confident. They had faced unarmed societies before. But here, mercy was a weapon. Every human action was designed not to punish, but to protect. Every countermeasure saved lives and preserved the city's structures. By the time the mercenaries realized they had met resistance, the humans had already disarmed traps, evacuated civilians, and forced the intruders into retreat. The council, observing from above, finally understood. "Your mercy, it is a form of strength," said one elder, voice trembling. "It is not passive, it is not weak. It is the shield." Marcus nodded. We fight not for conquest, not for vengeance, but for those who cannot fight themselves. Your laws forbid war, but they did not forbid life. We are merely the enforcement of that principle when it is tested. By the end of the month, Verith was secure. Humans had set up communication outposts, defensive perimeters, and rapid response units, all integrated subtly into the city's elegant architecture. No citizen had been harmed. No laws broken. And yet, the message was clear. The gods' prohibition did not extend to the protection of life, and humanity would act where divine law faltered. In the council chamber, Marcus addressed the gathered elders and citizens, a calm authority in his voice. You are a civilization built on peace, and that is your greatest strength. But peace is only as strong as the resolve to defend it. We do not seek to impose our ways, but we will act when lives are in danger. That is the gift of mercy. For the first time in centuries, the Solari experienced an emotion that had no name in their lexicon. Awe. Respect. Fear, yes, but not of destruction. Of understanding. They had met human mercy, and it was unlike anything they had known. Decisive, unwavering, protective, and unstoppable when called upon. When the last human ship departed, citizens of Verith gathered along the floating bridges to watch. The humans did not boast, did not linger. They left behind order where chaos had threatened, safety where vulnerability had reigned. They had delivered not just protection, but a lesson. Mercy can be a weapon, and it is often stronger than any blade, any fleet, any divine decree. And as the twin suns of Verith set over the glimmering city, casting long shadows across the crystalline spires, one thought passed through the minds of every observer. The humans were not invaders nor conquerors. They were guardians, and in their mercy, they had rewritten what it meant to be strong. The gods, watching silently from their lofty perches, remained unchallenged, but their followers had learned something new. That in a galaxy where war was forbidden, humanity could enforce peace in ways that even divine edicts could not anticipate.